7. Law and liberty. A basic aspect of this meaning is law. Man's liberty is rooted and grounded in this law, as Sir Walter Scott, in terms of his Calvinistic heritage, saw when he opposed the French Revolution's liberty, fraternity, and equality. His own battle cry, written for the Scottish Dragoons, liberty and laws, because the fullness of man's meaning is discernible only in terms of his creator and the creative purpose. It is impossible, if man is in harmony with God, for liberty and law to be in conflict. Even as a fish needs water to live in, because it is his environment or law sphere, and liberation into air would kill him, so man finds his true liberty in God's law, his environment. The law becomes a curse to apostate man, since it makes it clear that his course apart from God's law sphere is death, but to the redeemed man, it is the environment of life. Man, created in the image of God, has a cultural mandate, that is, to exercise the implications of that image, to be God's king, priest, and prophet in, to, and over all creation, subduing it, that is, bringing it under his dominion in knowledge, righteousness, and holiness. The fall, redeemed man's return to God, and the development of his status under God, and fallen man's developing apostasy, all these things and more are circumscribed by the eternal decree of God. They are a part of the permission and plan of God, in order to further what Van Til calls epistemological self-consciousness, man's self-awareness of the ground of his knowledge and being, and the full development of the implications of his regeneration, or of his apostasy. History, then, is the process whereby epistemological self-consciousness is brought to maturity. It has therefore a double maturation, as the parable of the tares and wheat makes clear, Matthew 13:24-30, 36-43, the maturation of both good and evil. Apostate man will become progressively more dialectical in his thinking, and more given to the absolutizing of the relative and the deification of his autonomy and his theoretical thought. Redeemed man, as God's vicegerent living in terms of the glorious liberty of the children of God, Romans 8:21, will progressively develop the implications of his image in terms of his mandate to know and use creation in terms of the Word of God. To subdue it as king under God, as Van Til has pointed out, man must interpret the creation as prophet under God and represent God as priest and dedicate the world to him. Man is like God, but always on a creaturely scale. He was organically related to the universe about him. That is, man was to be prophet, priest, and king under God in this created world. The vicissitudes of the world would depend upon the deeds of man. Christ, as very God and very man, was the true prophet, priest and king, and man's federal head and representative, reinstating him into communion with God and into standing with God by his representative, and vicarious atonement for man's violating of that law. Since, as Chalcedon saw clearly, the two natures were in him without commingling or confusion, the confusion of the divine and the human which characterizes non-Christian thought was forestalled. This is the framework of liberty. Its biblical character has been the decisive factor in Western history, even though its nature has been only spasmodically apprehended. The Reformation set forth this motive, although Melanchthon quickly absorbed Lutheranism and Beza Calvinism into the older and newer dialectics without clear recognition of the full nature of the Christian motive. The churches of today are radically infected either by the dialectics of scholasticism or of pre- and post-Kantian humanism, by the presuppositions of the Enlightenment. At their very best, their witness is limited to soteriology in a fragmentary sense. and the broad cultural calling is bypassed by conservatism or associated with humanism and statism by religious liberalism. As a result of this failure and also of the general cultural failure, Van Ryssen's comments is an apt description of our time. The disintegration of existence, that is, the dissolution of coherence in the elements of existence, has reached an advanced stage for a great many people. Men who find life itself meaningless or worthless usually find little value in attempts to recall past liberties. Liberty belongs, for them, to a dead world of meaning. That true world of meaning must first be restored if liberty is to be given its rightful place and respect.